Commission. I want to thank everybody for being here this afternoon and for accommodating this request to schedule the meeting. As all of you know, the purpose of this specially called meeting is to appoint our interim executive director to serve until we have selected a permanent executive director. And as I thought through how to approach this appointment, I became acquainted with Dr. Bob Smith. And Dr. Bob Smith is no stranger to the higher education world in the state, and I know many of you are familiar with him. I have invited him to be here today because it's my intent to recommend that he be appointed as our interim executive director. So unless there's an objection, with your permission, I'd like to introduce Dr. Smith by reading his biography, and then I would invite him to say just a couple of words, and then I'm sure he'd be happy to answer questions and think through that. And then once we have that introductory process, I'll then be making a motion for his appointment. So let me read the introduction for Dr. Robert M. Smith. He's currently serving as the Special Advisor to the UT President for Talent and Leadership Development. He has served in this role since January of 2017, following 18 months as Interim Chancellor for UT Martin. Dr. Smith was Dean of the UT Martin School of Arts and Sciences from 1987 to 1999, and in that period, co-created the West Star Leadership Program and served as its Executive Director for 10 years. From 1996 to 1999, Smith also served as was the Director of the Tennessee Governor's School for the Humanities. In 1999, he began serving as Provost and later President of Slippery Rock University in Pennsylvania before retiring in 2012 as President Emeritus. At Slippery Rock, Dr. Smith was credited with turning around declining enrollment and raising the academic reputation of the university. In Smith's last years as president, Slippery Rock received 3 national and 2 regional Best Places to Work accolades and hit all-time enrollment, retention, and graduation records. In 2015, Dr. Smith returned to UT Martin to guide the university through a series of historic achievements while addressing financial, enrollment, and accreditation challenges. By the end of his term, UT Martin had created new revenue models for in-state and out-of-state students toward increased support for student progression and academic success, an enrollment strategy that included the university's first comprehensive marketing campaign, full accreditation status by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, Commissions on Colleges, and achieving fundraising records. Dr. Smith is a nationally recognized leadership development specialist who has taught in university-sponsored executive development programs across the country. He has a doctorate from Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He has received 2 national awards from the Council for Advancement and Support of Education for teaching excellence and was selected a first-year student advocate by the National Resource Center for the first-year experience and students in transition. In recognition of Dr. Smith's service to UT Martin, the UT Board of Trustees designated him the 10th Chancellor of UT Martin and Chancellor Emeritus. Dr. Smith and his wife Ramona live in Franklin. And with that, Dr. Smith, if you would indulge us and approach the lectern on that side and maybe just say a few words and entertain some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've devoted my entire life, my entire professional career to public higher education. This would be my 54th year. And to have the opportunity to continue in service, and particularly to the people of Tennessee, would be just a crowning honor. I've had the opportunity to work in Tennessee as well as in other places to help specifically address issues that institutions have had, and I thrive on those kinds of opportunities. And if I can be of service to the commission, I would be honored to do so.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. I know Secretary Hargan has a question.
A couple of questions. So, Dr. Smith, I've known of you for quite some time, and I think we would be fortunate to have some of your caliber who is willing to step in during this time at Tennessee Higher Education Commission to serve as interim. And so when I mention interim, in my mind, that's kind of a 6 months time frame. Are you thinking somewhere in there, perhaps?
Well, let's both look at my wife and ask if that's it.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Ramon, I'll look at you, okay? So I think we'd be fortunate. I think we'd be
yes.
fortunate to have you.
Yes, actually, this would be my third time being an interim CEO for a public higher education institution.
And so, with that said, I guess the last thing I would offer up is that, we have a lot of great things going on here in Tennessee when it comes to higher education. And so we don't want to lose that momentum. And I know that the other members of this commission, if you're chosen, look forward to working with you as we attempt to keep that momentum going.
Thank you. Other questions for Dr. Smith?
Chairman Cope.
Andrew? Vernon,
Let's have him
can you hear us?
Yeah, go ahead and let Andrew first, and then you can come back to me.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. So obviously, if you serve in a 6-month capacity, that would kind of put you ending sometime in June, where there's going to be a massive transition. You're going to have a large influx of students increasing for the fall semester. So how do you feel like you would be able to handle the transition if we go to a more permanent director during that time?
Well, I'm not sure that I understand why that would be related to the, are you talking about the enrollment for the fall?
Correct. So we'll have obviously an influx, and all the universities are going to have a lot of different policies to have to handle. And we'll actually, I think we have a meeting in May that will be, they'll probably have to handle some of those changes through the votes on that. So how will the transition be able to happen effectively? How do you feel like you would be able to facilitate the transition from an interim director to a more permanent director during that time?
I can't honestly imagine that that's going to be an issue, because the kinds of things that I understand you're addressing are campus-based. And so the presidents and the chancellors of the campuses would take responsibility for those. We should have the kind of transition in which it is uneventful for those institutions.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Stafford?
Thank you, Chairman Cope. Dr. Smith, first, let me apologize for not being able to be there with you in person to meet you and to welcome you at least to this meeting. But I did have one quick question. So you've been a CEO of a number of organizations before, and also being currently a member of a higher education institution in the state of Tennessee. I would presume that you're reasonably familiar with the task of THEC and all that is before the organization. Would you just give us an idea of how you would approach the position as interim in terms of the strategy that you might lay out, and to really make sure that we don't miss a beat of how, and following up on Secretary Hargett's question, how successful we've been thus far with THEC and in the state, what you would see as your plan over the next 6 months to keep us going forward?
Well, let me begin with, let's say, the first 30 days. And that is for me to come up to speed both with the fantastic staff that is serving THEC right now and discover the kinds of issues that are on their mind. But I think the most important next step from that is to be out on the campuses and to learn from the presidents and the chancellors and the various boards some of the issues that they may have and some of the direction that they feel is important, and for me to bring that back to the commission for us to have a strong conversation about how we can meet the mission of THEC in service as well to the institutions.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Commissioner Stafford. Other questions for Dr. Smith? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So at this point, I will make a motion that pursuant to TCA 49-7-205, Subpart A, Subpart 1, that the commission select Dr. Robert M. Smith for the position of Interim Executive Director of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission under the existing terms and conditions of the position effective January 2nd, 2023.
Chairman Cope, could we call the roll before we officially write down the motion?
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate that. We need to determine if we have a quorum. So, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Cope,
Here?
Commissioner Allman,
Present.
Commissioner Kingsolver,
Present.
Commissioner Coben,
Here.
Commissioner Matlock, Commissioner Moser,
Here.
Commissioner Scarlett,
Here.
Commissioner Stafford,
Present.
Commissioner Wharton, Commissioner Winton, Secretary Hargett, Treasurer Lillard,
Here.
Commissioner Morrison,
Nathan James in for Commissioner Morrison.
and Comptroller Mumpower. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Very good. So, at this point, I'll renew my motion, and the floor is open for a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a second, and any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Cope,
Aye?
Commissioner Allman,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsolver,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock, Commissioner Moser,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarlett,
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Secretary Hargett, Treasurer Lillard,
Aye.
Comptroller Mumpower. Chairman, you have 11 ayes.
Very good. The motion is passed. Congratulations, Dr. Smith, on your appointment. We have one more item of business before we close this meeting, and that has to do with our process for selecting our permanent executive director. And our rules of procedure allow for the creation of advisory committees. And I have reached out to several of our commissioners to see if they would be willing to serve on that committee, and they have graciously agreed to do so. And so I would like to appoint Pam Coben, Vernon Stafford, Tara Scarlett, Secretary Hargett, and Andrew Kingsolver to the Executive Director Search Committee. And this will be in the form of a motion. I just need to get this out on the record first. I also think it's really important that the higher education systems we serve have a voice and some influence in this process. And so to that end, I've asked Dr. Russ Deaton, Dr. Brian Nolan, and Dr. Keith Carver if they would be willing to help this committee in an advisory capacity as they begin this charge of coming up with a search process for the executive director. They've all graciously agreed to do so. And so with that, my motion would be for the appointment of an advisory committee for the purpose of determining the executive director search process with those individuals that I've just mentioned serving on that committee. That's my motion.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Scarlett. Any discussion? Yes, sir. Comptroller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are any members on that committee appointments of the speakers of the General Assembly?
I don't know the answer to that. Maybe our general counsel would know.
Commissioner Stafford is a joint appointment.
Thank you. Are any members on that committee appointments directly of Governor Lee, or are they holdovers from Governor Haslam?
Commissioner Scarlett's Governor Lee, I know.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
So we do have at least one individual appointed by Governor Lee originally. Mr. Chairman, I would appreciate if there was another individual on the committee that was representative of the General Assembly.
Sure.
And I think you would find, and I think this committee would find, more success in the future if that were the case as well.
Sure.
So I will move to amend your motion to add a person to the committee who is an appointment of one of the speakers, and I have no preference as to who that person is.
Okay, let's see. Show me the one, okay. Speaker, okay. You don't have a preference, Mr.
I
Comptroller?
don't.
Okay. Mr. Jimmy Matlock, I know this is your first meeting, but your name's at the top of the list.
Well, there are a few people that I could have more confidence in than my former colleague in the House, Jimmy Matlock.
guess we
So
picked right, didn't we, here?
I will amend my motion again to move that Jimmy Matlock be a member of this committee.
Very good. I'll second that. So we have an amended motion now. Are we squared away? We need a second. I did the second. Can I do that? Okay. All right. Any further comments or questions? All right. Fantastic. So we've got our slate for the committee. We'll need a roll call vote. Oh, sorry, Mr. Secretary.
Well, I was jokingly going to say that I object to Keith Carver, but
We can always amend that motion again, Mr. Secretary. if you want. Yeah. All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Cope,
Aye.
Commissioner Allman,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsolver,
aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock, Commissioner Moser, Commissioner Scarlett.
Do I abstain?
You can,
Aye.
Yeah.
Commissioner Stafford,
Aye.
Commissioner Wharton, Secretary Hargett, Treasurer Lillard,
Aye.
Comptroller Mumpower. Chairman, you have 10 ayes and 1 abstention.
Very good. Motion carries. The committee is appointed. Thank you, everyone, for your willingness to serve on that. And I understand Lou will be in touch, I think, with everyone to schedule the first organizational meeting, I guess, in the next few days, probably. So he'll be in touch so you can have your organizational meeting. And unless there's any other business to come before the commission, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. With nothing further business, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Yes, sir.